critical issues for individuals need to be listened to, because that will determine whether individuals want to go work for you as a country and a government or go work in your corporation. And some of the biggest issues are a huge rise in individuals wanting a choice of how they work, where they work, and what they work with. So organizations that can design flexible work systems and places will be the most successful. In short, because of the internet, the individual is taking charge of their career and has more mechanisms and tools than they ever had before to fix what their future might be. One thing that we found from our huge research was that social networking and social networks will play a critical part in the future of attracting talent into work.
One of the practical applications of what we do at JA is we work with about 10 million young people around the world in 123 countries on 6 continents. We use volunteers, 350,000 of them, who bring the business world into the classroom and actually provide experiential learning opportunities for young people, standing alongside a teacher or standing with a teacher to teach what the business world is like, what workforce skills are required, and how you might even go about starting a business and teaching that when somebody's 17, 16, 18 years old. That kind of program is actually taking place here in the Kingdom. Abdul Karim Abu Al-Nasr, the CEO of National Commercial Bank, is working within JAWS and has started some pilot programs in Jeddah. He's assembled a very outstanding board of business leaders here in Saudi Arabia, and he's partnering with the Saudi Ministry of Education, which has embraced the program enthusiastically. The challenge is, how do you make real what young people are learning in the classroom?
They have to be an active participant in the creation of knowledge from day one. They also have to have, as Sean said, active connections to hands-on experiences as early as possible, so that even though they don't have the full knowledge base that they might need to have the solution that a company would need or corporation would need, they need to have that experience. And we're working with corporations around the world to make sure that those students understand real-world problems, have an opportunity to solve them and work on them at an early age, and then can grow and develop the maturity necessary to contribute to those companies. The third thing is very important, is close connections to companies. I'm really proud to be a member of the Executive Committee of the U.S. Competitiveness Council, and through those conversations, we learn a lot about the skills, the perspectives needed for the workforce of the future, and we try to infuse that into the curriculum as rapidly as possible. Also, as Sean commented, internships are extraordinarily important for undergraduate students as well as graduate students, because sometimes graduate students become very insular in their laboratories, and they're not connected to business and industry in the way that they need to be. So these internships and hands-on experiences are also extraordinarily important for the academic program now in a way that they never were before.
And we believe that we are one of the 20 mega universities in the world. And that is because we can legitimately lay claim to a particular mode of tuition which we have invented and evolved. We are 100 years old now as a university. And that is the open distance learning program, where you don't have to be in the classroom. You can study wherever you are. We have perfected that mode of learning to the point that we are tutoring to students in about 37 countries. Part of the issue is how to retain and sustain the talent that you have so that it does not migrate. And that is the problem which the third world is facing. And again, as one of my colleagues has said in this war talent that he has referred to, is that we have talent, we put our resources, meager resources, into developing this talent, but after some time, the talent gets harvested and taken away by developed countries. Let me premise my answer by saying to you that, for example, in South Africa, it's government policy that in all institutions, there must at the very least be 50-50 gender representation. And I'm sure that gives you a clear indication of the thinking that is going on within that particular country. But that is not only limited to politics. I'll just give you just as an example, as a work ethic. Gender is a very important factor in the country in that we appreciate that women have as much contribution to can make as men do.
From our global study with McKinsey, we got a very clear correlation across more than 1,000 corporations that we deeply surveyed that diversity and gender inclusion promoted productivity in almost every aspect of the workforce. Now, the secret, I guess, having worked with most of the governments in the Arab world, is the issue of appropriate cultural involvement. So the correct culture of involvement of every gender and every part of the diverse workforce in this region. And I can see some very good programs going on. And in the Arab world, we have proven with particularly well-constructed inclusion of the total workforce, productivity increases very, very rapidly.
You have to have, whatever industry you are, you have to have a clear direction where you're going. That clear direction has to be communicated across, then addressed at all the phases of dealing with your staff. When you recruit the people, you have to, beside looking at their experience and talent, you have to look at their attitude toward what you're doing, where you're going, how they see it as a challenge, and how they could positively contribute to that. And it's, from the beginning, you have to see what's their role, and where you're going and what you're doing. Once you get them in, you have to get them engaged. And the main thing to get them engaged is, besides having a clear direction, you have to have clear values within the organization. And such direction and value would have to be communicated across, up and down and left and right. So everybody could relate to that goal and objective and implement in such a way that it really reflects and relate to the values you go after. Then have a mechanism to feedback, to listen to your employees, how they feel about your direction, how do they feel about your values, what's their concern, what can they contribute. Get them engaged as part of the whole team in a team spirit, to self-sustaining, contributing, self-sustaining, growth together, self-sustaining, success together.